the Hermit is really looking like a voyeur right now. You know what I'm saying? Like creepy old man. They got a chick bathing and he just sitting here with his lantern like, "Shit, girl." But that's your soul. Okay. Don't be thinking like that. Hello, Libra. Welcome to your December solar session. I am Marlo. If you're new and if you're family, I guess I'm going to take those. If you're family, welcome back, my friend. If you're not familiar with what your soul sessions are, they are your spirituality as well as personal development readings in which we look at what is happening in America, in which we look at the energies that you guys, hold on one second, may encounter for a given month for the sole purpose of offering you clarity, insight, and guidance. That's way too many cards. And all that good stuff and whatnot or whatever. I don't know what's going on with these cards, Libra, but we're going to go ahead and jump right in. The first card out you guys have is is my autofocus going to be a nice person? I don't think so. We have the Seven of Pentacles. Then we have, okay, come on with it. We have the Star card, that's Aquarius energy. That's looking pretty good. It's looking like Libra coming out of November and into December. You guys are more or less waiting for the manifestation of your fruits. It's more or less something that you guys have invested time, energy, and effort into. Oh my gosh, why are the cards going bonkers? It's something that you guys have invested your time, effort, and energy into. And it's something that you guys expect to reap a rather bountiful harvest, if you will, Libra. But in the latter part of November coming into December, you guys are still in that waiting period. However, I feel that you guys are waiting in faith and a spirit of expectancy. If we were to get real lofty with it, I'm sorry, my allergies are kind of acting up, so I'm going to be Sniffles McGee. But anywho, a lot of what I've been talking about for the last couple of months, which is us like meeting spirit halfway, it more or less looks like you guys have done all it is that you can possibly do. So now it's just a matter of waiting on divine timing, waiting on spirit to, meet you halfway, waiting for, the right time frame or what have you. And I feel both what is coming and what you guys are hoping to come, which kind of reminds me of how this manifested for Aquarius, is the Star card, which is, wishes fulfilled and being in alignment with your truth. So I feel this has a dual meaning, if you will. So it's both what you guys are manifesting, it's what you guys are expecting, and it's also what it is that's coming. Now, the next card that we have is the Justice in the reverse. That's, of course, Libra energy. And then we have the Hermit, and that is Virgo energy. So with this, it's kind of reminding me, like, it was very interesting what it is that happened with Aquarius. Like, I saw like their first two cards was almost like a foretelling of what was to come in the latter part of the month. And for some reason, this energy vibration is kind of reminding me of the same thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel what it is that I'm seeing, it's not necessarily what you guys have been working towards or you're waiting to manifest necessarily comes into fruition in the beginning part of the month. Of course, there's the possibility for that, but just with this energy here, with this Justice in the reverse and this Hermit, it's more or less, it feels like a delayed gratification for me. So it's kind of more or less like, desiring for something to happen, hoping something happens along those lines. That's like your best outcome, if you will, but it not quite happening. It's almost like, and I hate to be repetitive, y'all. I mean, it's really not repetitive if you didn't watch Aquarius, but it feels very is not is to me, because it's kind of like I've worked really hard. I'm waiting for a blessing, right? But in the place of this blessing that I'm calling in comes a proverbial curse. Not saying you guys are cursed or anything like that. It's just with this Justice in the reverse, it's speaking more or less to an unfair situation. And if I were to be clear with that in particular, I feel this unfair seemingly situation is more or less something in you guys that's kind of off balance within type of deal. And there's more or less a need to dig a little deeper. So I'm going to say this two different ways. It's not saying that what's coming in for you guys is going to be halted or, you know, unfairly given to you or taken from you or anything of the sort. I feel it's more or less you guys are coming into this month expecting this particular thing. However, there's something that's being highlighted within you guys that isn't balanced, right? And that's really what needs to be dealt with before the physical manifestation of this comes through, right? So and there's a lot of elements of that this month. Kind of similar. I said something similar to Sag and Capricorn, I think. It's kind of being cognizant as you're moving forward. I said the same thing to Scorpio too, that you don't get too caught up in one particular energy. So it's more or less, Libra, you guys are in a place where you're waiting for something, but the forewarning or heads up is to make sure that you don't get consumed by the waiting, to where the stasis or the energy vibration that you're remaining in or solidifying yourself in is one of waiting or one of expectancy, because it throws you off balance. Now, why would something like that happen? It's more or less because you've done the work and it's not really leaving it alone. It's kind of like my dad says, a watch pot never boils, right? It's kind of like you put the water in the pot, you turn the stove on, and it's almost as if you're watching the pot because it's like you don't trust that the flame is really going to make it boil. So it's this perspective of like, I need to stand here and I need to watch it to make sure that, you know, the water understands the assignment, the fire understands the assignment, so we can get boiled water. But by doing that and not stepping out on faith, right? And that's a crazy example to use about stepping out on faith, but it kind of is, you know, stepping out on faith would be putting the pot of water on the stove and turning the stove on and having faith that, you know, nature is going to do its thing. The water is going to meet its, flash point or its boiling point or whatever. And you're going to have boiling water, right? But I feel more or less not releasing it and going forward is what can kind of stagnate you guys, that would create what would seem to be an unjust situation. And it has nothing to do with the situation within itself. It's just the fact that you got out of alignment by focusing too much on the manifestation of this, right? So instead, what the solution would be to this with this Hermit card is making the decision or electing to go within, right? So kind of like getting your next charge orders, if you will. So if we looked at this as the closing of a cycle, all of this time, energy, and effort that you've put into whatever this particular thing is for you guys individually, Libra, this is something that would be considered wish fulfillment for you. It's like your end all be all, right? However, because we all have so much life left for however long we all have to live, this isn't going to be like the final chapter of your life. It can feel like the end all be all, but it's not, because there's other areas of your life that need to be taken care of. However, I don't doubt that this is something that is extremely important to you, that could feel that way, right? So the whole thing is, and it still kind of goes back to this, not putting your eggs in one basket. It's like, yes, you've done the work for this thing, but don't put all of your energy into this at this point, because the point that you're at is out of your hands. Otherwise, you curate this unbalance. You know what I'm saying? So I say going within with this Hermit card is really about getting your next assignment, if you will, like what the next step is, or what the next thing to focus on, or what's the next thing that you feel inspired to focus on, if that's making sense. Now, the next card that we have, oh child, we have the Devil. That's Capricorn energy. Then we have the Chariot. This is a lot of major arcanas, Libra. So legit, yeah. Here's the dealio. How can I say this, Libra? It's surrender December, right? In December, something that would behoove all of us is surrendering was no longer serving us, right? I don't want to run this into the ground, but this devil card is legit bringing me back to the Seven of Pentacles. There has to be a cutoff point when to walk away from the pot, if I could say it that way, because I understand the sentiment is more of a fear-based kind of thing, in this belief that you have to be involved, or you have to have your hand in it, or you got to keep an eye on it. But it kind of reminds me of the running joke that I had in the weekly reading. And that was for November 28th through the 4th on the network. And I was joking with everyone about starting the week by leaving the high priestess on the side of the road. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like getting divine inspiration to do something, right? Which would be whatever it is you guys have been working on up to this point. But like leaving the high priestess on the side of the road is like taking spiritual like inspiration, right? And going and creating this thing and leaving spirit behind, right? And it's not something that we do intentional. It's just kind of like if spirit inspires you to, I don't know, write a book or create some type of project or something. And your next thought is, how can I make this happen? What do I need to do to manifest this, right? But it's a need to remember that the idea didn't come from you in the first place. Like it was a divinely inspired idea, right? So if the idea came from the divine, then who better to help you with manifesting it than the divine? You know what I mean? So a lot of the reason why this could have taken longer than you feel like it should have, or why it is you guys are getting into a place of unrest, because this devil being here is, of course, speaking to bondage. It's speaking to like an obsession. You know what I mean? And it's an obsession in the sense of like obsessively thinking about something, or an obsessive desire to control. Like I was saying, it's like you need to watch the pot because we don't trust the pot. We don't trust the water. We don't trust the fire. We don't trust that all three of them are going to work together and do what they're supposed to do. And to prevent anything from happening, I'm going to stand here and watch this fire in this pot and keep checking on them, making sure, like micromanaging it to make sure that this is happening. And it's aligned with a mindset that if you guys didn't do that, that somehow it wouldn't happen. And that's already putting too much pressure on yourself, right? But then again, it still gets into this energy that's stagnating you. And that's not the energy that you want to be in, because again, it makes you unbalanced, right? It brings us back to this statement of balance with the Chariot, which is Cancerian energy, if I didn't say it already, because the whole premise of this is having these two polar opposites, these two extremes, as yin and yang, masculine and feminine, whatever didactic terminology you want to utilize, is having this is and this is not on one accord and constantly playing off each other. And that's how it is that our chariot of ascension moves forward, right? So really what the plan is here, Libra, is not just for you guys to get wishes fulfilled, or, to be a celebrity or be famous or be recognized or whatever. That's not the only point here. The point is to move forward into this energy in a balanced way. You know what I mean? Because you'd really be robbing yourself, right, if you were to move forward in balance. So if I were to call this for what it is, it's really a desire to control, a fear-sponsored need to control things or guide things, or, be over things, because it's sponsored by a thought of, if I don't handle this, who will? And the answer to this is like spirit, all right? Because it's like you're personally responsible enough to get the Ace of Pentacles, plant it in the ground, get it, water, get it sunshine, and for this to grow into something. But and calling it faith, but you standing at the proverbial bush, waiting for your full harvest to come, isn't really trusting. It isn't really faith. It sort of kind of looks like it, but it's almost like, and I hope this is making sense, Libra, It's literally almost like what spirit is trying to get you guys to see is this layover period. It's like that period that you're staring at this bush, like blossoming, that period in which you're standing in front of that pot on the stove, waiting for it to boil. That is an interim time frame in which you could be going to do something else. So this is getting very clear to me. So literally, if we stick with the pot and all of that type of theory, right? If you have a whole to-do list of things to do for your day, right? While you're waiting for that water to boil, if you would just trust the stove to do what stoves do and pots to be conductors and do what they do, and for water and the temperature in which it boils to do what it does, then in that, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, hypothetically, depending on how, you know, good your stove is, right? And that 5 or 10 minutes that you were waiting for that water to boil, you could have went and, you know, organized your junk drawer, right? You could have sent back a couple of emails, right? You could have returned a phone call or two, returned a couple of texts, you know? There's something you could have done in that interim, that in between time. And then when the water starts to boil, then you go handle the water that's boiling, right? And putting your noodles in or making your tea or whatever it is that you were boiling the water for, right? And then you can enjoy that and then go on to what the next thing is. But the thing that I'm being shown is that desire to control or need to keep watch, it's sponsored by fear, but it's robbing you in two ways. It's preventing you from really trusting, right? Or having faith. It's reinforcing that the only way things work out is if you're like in charge and control. If you keep watch, that's the only way things work out. And that's constantly reinforced, right? And then on the other side, it's robbing you of time you could be investing elsewhere. You know what I mean? So instead of you having a free 5-10 minutes to invest your time in something else, you have 5 or 10 minutes that are invested in something that was already going to come anyway. So that's where that whole vibe, like I was saying, that I felt with Aquarius, like how their first two cards, it seemed like the first two cards are like a foretelling of what was to happen in the latter part of the month. It's similar to that, but not exact. It's just saying that whenever this does manifest for you guys, Libra, I mean, it's going to be this month, but it's something that you're truly wanting. But the way that you're approaching this is wasting time, and it's getting you out of alignment with the person who drew this in the first place, because you're focusing on something that's completely outside of your control. You know what I'm saying? Like, and another example would be like you applied to college, right? Hypothetically. And you're waiting to get a letter back from the college. You standing at the mailbox, asking the mailman every day is not going to make that letter come any faster. It's not, right? You've done all that you can do. You filled out everything. You emailed it or you mailed it in, right? The only thing you can do now is wait for an answer. But you actively standing in faith with the answer isn't going to make it come any quicker. But if this is what it is that you're manifesting, celebrity, success, notoriety, you know what I'm saying? Your dreams fulfilled, wishes come true, whatever this is for you, your authentic self, whatever it is. If this is what it is that you know that you called in, then why can't we just have faith and trust that it is? And it's because of this fear. But I feel this is being brought up because this could end up being, like how I always say with the 7 of Swords, what you skip will trip you up later. I feel this is being brought to the fore in this particular reading for you guys, the last one of 2021, is because this is something that could end up being a huge hiccup for you guys moving into the future. And I don't want to get too deep into the deeper implications of manifestation and, energy getting out of alignment and all that other kind of stuff. We'll just simplify it by saying unbalanced. Like you won't fit the energy signature of the signature that you would need to be to receive what it is that you're calling in. So this is really a thing about, faith and trust in spirit or in oneself, and it being fear-based, right? So with this Chariot, it's still a declaration of you guys' victory. It's saying whatever the case, there is a positive movement forward for you guys. This is ordained. This is what's supposed to happen, right? This is what's here for you. But this is more or less revealing to you something that may have been kind of like a hiccup for you guys in the past. And even though, like I told Aquarius, whatever the case, the train is going to be leaving the station. It's all up to us whether or not we catch that train. And I feel that this imbalance and not checking back in with yourself to see, okay, what's next, as opposed to putting all of one's energy into something you've already done all you can possibly do with, that's something I feel that ends up being something that kind of trips you guys up. Now, the next card that we have, come on, autofocus is really not being nice today. It's the Judgment in the reverse. So with this Libra, we're still, and this is a lot of major arcanas, dude. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jesus, that's 6 major arcanas. What is really happening in America? With the Judgment card, we're talking about ascending to a higher state of being, right? We're talking about the byproduct of the choices that we make, right? And that's kind of reinforcing what it is that I was saying a few seconds ago, is it's a need to understand how we are always facing and living out the consequences of our actions. That's something that justice speaks about, like reward and punishment, right? Like as you sow, so shall you reap. You know what I mean? With this being a lot of major arcanas, this is saying that this is like an epic spiritual transition that should be happening for my Libra people, like an awakening of minds in a sense. And yet again, it's supposed to be you guys transcending a particular timeline in the sense of you've been to both sides of this proverbial Likert scale, if you will. And I feel this is the only residue that's left. And I hate to be repetitive, you know what I'm saying? But it's almost like how one misses the boat is by not being in the right place at the right time. And I love how these stories keep coming up. There's a story in the Bible that talks about like the handmaidens, and they were waiting for the bridegroom to arrive. And I think there was like 10 handmaidens each, I think, right? Or the 7 I don't remember how many it was. But let's just say there was like, 10 of them, right? So it's like 5 and 5. So they had 5 handmaidens who had like, their little oil lamps, right? Which they needed to see at nighttime because they had no electricity and things, right? So everyone knew not the time nor the hour when the bridegroom would arrive, but one needed to be prepared. And BTW, that story is an allegory for this card. Everyone talks about the rapture. This particular story is an allegory of, a similar event. So anywho, so you have the 5 handmaidens or whatever, and 5 of them were prepared. And their oil lamps were filled with oil. And then they had extra oil for backup because they didn't know how long they was going to be waiting, and nights is long and things, right? So they wanted to make sure that they were prepared. You have 5 other handmaidens that, were just kind of dilly-dallying, going along with other responsibilities and stuff like that, kind of procrastinating and putting it off. It's like, I need my lamp for work every day. And when I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared, when the bridegroom comes. And this is more or less synonymous for people who take life for granted sometimes, or people who are heavy procrastinators, or people who feel that they have all the time in the world for things. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's not going to happen today. That's not going to be my problem. You hear somebody say like, tomorrow is not promised. We don't have all the time in the world. And it's a person that's just like, that doesn't apply to me. If I was about to die, I'd feel something. I'd sense something. You know what I mean? If, the world was about to end, I would feel something. If this was my last shot at achieving this, I would sense something. And then I would know to hurry up and get my shit together. Right? So that's what that's synonymous of. Right? So anywho, trumpet sounds, right? Proverbially speaking. And, the bridegroom is coming, to arrive, right? And all of the 5 handmaidens get up and are like excited, and, they're going to run. The other 5 handmaidens get excited. They're all like running, and they're waiting for, the bridegroom, right? Hours pass, and all of the 5 who did not prepare themselves with their oil lamps started to realize they didn't have very much oil left, and their oil was about to run out. So they asked the other 5 girls, like, hey, you guys have full lamps and you have extra oil. Like, can we use some of your oil? Right? And the other 5 girls were like, hell nah. Right? Like, no, you cannot. And it's like, well, you have extra oil. And they're like, yeah, because we were prepared because we didn't know how long we was going to be waiting. So we have enough for this to last until the sun comes up in the morning or whatever, right? So the other 5 girls are like panicking. So they go run to find oil, right? And when they come back, the bridegroom had arrived, taken the other 5 maidens, and left, and they missed the boat, right? Now, the reason why I tell that story to you guys, Libra, because this unbalance that we're speaking about is like those 2 dichotomies, right? The 5 handmaidens who had their lamps full and then had some extra oil, you know what I'm saying, and had that set to the side. The excuse with the other girls is like, oh, I use this lamp every day. Like, how am I just supposed to keep it full and set it to the side? Well, go buy another lamp. You know what I'm saying? Because getting so caught up in the day-to-day things, or getting so caught up in one particular, event, like what's important now, what would be considered a priority. To the other 5 girls, what they were doing every day was the priority because that was real, that's now, that's here. These are, things that need my attention, right? And it's totally forgetting about this, particular event or day that is set to come. Now, it's slightly different in that story from how I'm seeing it with you guys, because with you guys, I'm seeing the energy reversed, right? It would almost be like how the other 5 maidens that weren't prepared, like how they put more weight into their day-to-day activities and, procrastinated on being prepared for the whole bridegroom arrival. I feel you guys are like more focused on like, the bridegroom arrival, because that's the big climactic event. That's the big all important thing. And it's like you having your oil lamp filled, having extra oil, but then you're still like, standing at your doorway, staring at the sky, waiting for the bridegroom to arrive type of thing. Because that's the end all be all. I don't want to miss the boat, But even in that case, still, it's an imbalance, right? So when this opportunity comes, you're not prepared because it's something that once upon a time was an inspiration that's been bought into 3D that has put you into bondage to where you're not checking back in with yourself. So when this proverbial trumpet sounds, you won't hear it because you're, focused so much on 3D or time frame or whatever the heck this is for you guys individually. And you're so imprisoned to that you're not checking in with yourself to not hear the trumpet when it sounds. If that's making sense, for you to know, okay, this is the time to move, or now it's time for you to receive the thing you've been waiting for. Like, I need you to go to this place at this time. You know what I'm saying? Like hearing spirit saying like, oh, I need you to go, like you want coffee right now. Go get coffee. Just go stop at that Starbucks. Don't go to the one by your house. Go to the one across town for some strange reason that you don't know, but I'm telling you. You feel what I'm saying? So the energy here, much like how I said for Aquarius, the energy here is set up for you guys to succeed. The only thing that can throw this off is our own human choice. And I'm not saying just for you guys. I said the same thing to Aquarius. I said the same thing to all signs I've done up to this point. The only thing that can throw us off is our own decision making, right? So it's all about coming into a place of balance, right? staying checked in with yourself, releasing control, having faith that you've done all that you can do. And now it's up to spirit. Like, I have to, release this, and I have to focus on other things, because anytime something becomes stagnant, whenever something isn't moving, right, it's no longer in alignment with the highest vibrational energy. And we can throw ourselves off track and become, in bondage to our own mind, to our own ideas, our own passions, our own desires. And, in essence, leave the high priestess on the side of the road. But this energy is intended to be a victory for you guys. And once again, this is a heavy, heavy spiritual lesson, Libra. I have to say that, because the only minor arcana that you guys have is this Seven of Pentacles, right? And the Seven of Pentacles is in competition with all of these major arcana energies. You feel what I'm saying? So it's an epic spiritual lesson. It's something that's like a really deep-seated bondage that you guys have going on underneath it all, that you may not even see as that. You may just look at it like, oh, I'm just a control freak. I just naturally micromanage. You know what I mean? It's like, I need to know what it is that's going on, and not looking much deeper into that, but also not seeing how what one would think is a personality trait, you know what I'm saying, is really something that's fear sponsored, that is acting as like a safety net, if you will, because what it really comes back to is a lack of trust for oneself, or a lack of trust for spirit. So I need to get it done. And that's not what any of this is about. And that really could be the source of the delay. And why this is coming up is for whatever it is that's coming into you guys' life that's for you, or that's positive, is so that's not overshadowed by this fear-based energy. And this could be something that you guys leave behind in 2021. So I hope that that's making sense. I'm gonna pull two more cards for you guys. Okay. Oh no, that is way too many cards, y'all. I am about to take all them cards. Y'all, I always hate when my allergies act up. It's so annoying. Oh my goodness. I absolutely hate it. I feel like I can't even like focus when all of my nasal passages and things are all just meh, All right, two more cards for Libra. But overall, I mean, this is looking really good, but I feel like this is like a huge, I want to say karmic lesson. I was going to say like spiritual lesson, but I feel like this is a huge karmic lesson for you guys. It's very karmic-y in nature. You know what I mean? Because it feels like you guys could be waiting for an end all be all, what you think is an end all be all. But I feel like understanding this lesson and being able to integrate it into your experience is really what the end all be all is. The next card you guys have is the Three of Wands in the reverse. Yeah, dude, here's the thing, Libra. This is so important. Whatever this is specifically, I feel you guys don't see it as a problem, but you're not seeing how this has been holding you back for a very, very long time. And it's the fact that you can't, it's like the whole art of surrender. It's like surrendering and releasing, trusting spirit, or like that quote that says that if you let something go, if it comes back to you, you know for sure that it's yours. It's like the vibe I get is, and I can't say all Libras, this is just whatever Libra resonates with this, but it's like this would be a Libra person who cannot leave things up to chance. And that seems like a really dope idea, because I mean, I get it. I'm a very practical person. Like, I'm not going to leave stuff up to chance, or, opt out and not make a decision and just hope things somehow work out. Like, I feel you on that. But I feel maybe that's how this began, or how one rationalizes this behavior. But you've been doing this for so long, it's now in 3D, aka Pentacles. And I tell you guys all the time how energy works. When you hold on to energy or stay in an energy vibration for too long, it starts to transmute into matter, meaning that it becomes heavy, it becomes dense. You know what I'm saying? That's why like low vibrational emotions like sadness and grief and all this other kind of stuff, why you feel it so heavy in your chest, or how people describe it, it's like, oh, it's just a weight on my shoulders, right? That's because that energy is like so dense, right? That it actually has like a weight to it. But when people are happy or, you know, have a spiritual epiphany, it's like, I feel so light. I feel so free and just so open. And you know what I'm saying? There's a reason for that. But I feel whatever this particular thing is, like this, almost like night watchman kind of vibe. You guys have been doing this for so long and like rationalizing to yourself why it's right that you should do this, because what it really is, dude, and I can't tiptoe around, I just have to call it what it is. What it really is that like, you just don't trust spirit. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a skill within itself that we have to learn. You know what I'm saying? But you have to call it what it is. So, because it puts you in sticky territory where staying in this energy, it mutates over time where it's kind of like survival mode, self-protection can turn into self-sabotage. And how that self-sabotage can turn into self-righteousness, because it started with the self-seclusion, and it's like cutting other people off, like cuts off also alternative perspectives. So the only perspective that one has is their own. If that essence, that the essence of that mindset is self-sabotatory, right? It's going to be something that keeps a person exactly where they are. Now, if you are exactly where you are, then you're ultimately going to become extremely stagnant, right? That, like I said, that graduates into the self-righteousness. So my opinion, my perspective, how I see things, that's the right way. This is what it is, because I don't have any other alternative perspective. You know what I'm saying? I have to hold on to the things that I have. Anything that you concoct in your head that now becomes reality, because there isn't anything that's challenging that particular reality. You know what I mean? And now things like this come to be where it's like, I don't have anyone, I don't trust anyone. Like I have to make sure that this happens. This is all on me. If it's not for me, this is not going to happen. I believe in God though. I do believe that spirit helps me out. However, I got to watch this thing, you know? So it's one of those insidious kind of little mindsets that we have that's kind of operating underneath the program that can inadvertently keep us stuck, because the main secret ingredient here is having faith. You know what I'm saying? Stepping out on faith, trusting, believing, and this can matriculate in a myriad of different ways. With different things for you guys individually. But to not have that trust or that faith, even if we were to put this in the context of like friendships or relationships, you know what I mean? You never give a person an opportunity to be there for you if you're always doing for yourself. You feel what I'm saying? But it's like, well, I have to do it, because if I would have waited on them, it wouldn't have got done. And I feel like in that case, you got to kind of second guess the type of people that you're having in your life. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, but that also grows into, why is it that no one's ever there for me? And it's like, because you don't need anyone, it's like, I do need people. And it's like, no, you don't, because you've positioned yourself in a way that you don't need anyone. You don't need spirit either, because you're going to get it done. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that this is legit on par what everyone is doing. You know what I'm saying? But it's just an insidious mindset that can manifest in a myriad of different ways. But it all is going back to most simplest thing. It's a form of control, and it's a fear of releasing that control for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? But you guys have an opportunity to move forward. But this particular thing, keeping you guys in mental bondage, could put you in a position to where you end up missing the boat, because it's a fear of turning your eyes away. Like, oh my gosh, my soulmate is ringing my doorbell right now, but the pot with the water if I don't watch it, it's not going to boil. But the soulmate, you know what I'm saying? And it's like this whole energy where it's like a false sense of responsibility too. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't wake up every morning at 3 a.m., like the sun not gonna rise. And it's like, that is not how this is set up. So it's like a false sense of responsibility. But that false sense of responsibility Libra has, it's coming from a place of fear, if that's making sense. I hope and pray this is making sense, Libra, dagnabbit, son of a gun. And the next card that we have is the 8 of Wands. That's blocked the energy and the inability to move forward. Now, if I were to be real straightforward with this, my wonderful Libra friend, and show you the cards that are straight down the middle of the spread, that's really getting to the heart of the matter here. Why is it that one is in bondage and blocked? It's this false sense of responsibility, this needing to, I don't know why my autofocus is being a jerk, but this need to, you know, watch this pot. Oh, see, look, I talked about you and you did right. It's this need to watch this particular pot. Like, I have to make sure this happens. If it isn't for me, you know, this isn't going to come to pass. I don't want to take any chances. Really want my star card. You know, I can't take any chances. I got to make sure I wait at this mailbox, like whatever that is. And because you're staying in this energy, now it's become a bondage, right? So you're a slave to this insatiable need or desire to keep watch, to control, to, you know, have to make sure everything runs smoothly, because all this false responsibility, whatever that one is taking on, you're in bondage to that. And it prevents you from moving forward. Again, I always tell you guys that when energy is in the reverse, that energy is still here, is just blocked. All of these cards here are about moving forward. All of the ones that are about movement, minus this Chariot, right? This Hermit, I was about to say this Virgo. Maybe they got a Virgo. They got a Virgo trying to tell y'all how to move forward. Libra, let me find out. Anyway, but with this Hermit, the way to move forward is by being in tune with your inner higher self, that of which would be the star card. You know what I'm saying? I look at that as your soul, right? So it's always shining light on this. While my water is boiling, let me check back in with my higher self. What's the next step? What's the next thing that I need to do? Now, y'all know this is wrong. I'm a Taurus, so don't you dare judge me. I'm looking at how I'm holding up these cards. Tauruses, if you don't know, we have really nasty minds. The Hermit is really looking like a voyeur right now. You know what I'm saying? Like creepy old man. They got a chick bathing and he just sitting here with his lantern like, "Say, girl." But that's your soul, okay? Don't be thinking like that. This is your inner self looking at your soul. What is next, spirit? You know what I'm saying? So that you can move forward balanced, you know? But this energy is blocking you guys. It's going straight across this spread. You know what I'm saying? So these energies are all helping up for each other. That's keeping this in power. It's preventing you from moving forward. And the key is you guys need to stand firmly in your faith, in your truth, and trust the process. And gosh, that's pretty much the same thing that I said to Aquarius. If y'all have that in y'all chart, y'all might want to check that out, because I literally was saying, like, there's a need now. Like for them, the way it was going to manifest is people looking real dumb for doubting them, you know? And the whole premise with that was them learning to take a step back. Like there was nothing that they needed to do to prove themselves right or to vindicate themselves. All they needed to do is keep doing what they were doing, like keep being, you know, Aquarius dope. And them being them was going to offer this opportunity where spirit can come in, you know, work through some situations, and poof, pow, surprise, they get their star card as well in the form of something tangible, which like shits on everyone and proves everyone wrong that doubted them or overlooked them. So it's that same kind of sentiment with you guys, Libra. It's not really so much about proving anyone wrong. It's just kind of showing you guys in a sense of how you can stand in your own way, even with the best of intentions. And I know that they always say, what is that quote? that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's like, I believe you guys kind of keeping watch, like that was a good idea at first, but it became maladaptive when it became an obsession. You know what I'm saying? And it's about releasing this obsession and allowing, you know, your spiritual guides, ancestors, your spiritual team, whatever, the angels, whatever it is that you believe in, to help you out, because you're not in this alone. Like, you don't have to do all of this by yourself, and you were never supposed to, because the inspiration ain't come from you anyway. Out here trying to rob spirit. I'm just joking. But yeah, dude, but all the energy for you guys, it's intended for y'all to move forward. If I were to be hella honest with this, there could be an epiphany for you guys that that comes in, oh Lord, I knocked stuff over, that comes in reference to this with the solar eclipse on the 4th. So there could be an aha moment in reference to that. This can be something you guys are working on during Venus retrograde that happens on the 19th of this month. You know, this could be something that's revealed to you for the Gemini full moon on the 18th. But whatever the case, if Libra feels like you guys have put a lot of work into something and it's just not happening, or you don't understand what's going on, it's this lack thereof of faith. And all of this is happening now and coming out in December. So you can surrender whatever this is in December, so you're not bringing this energy into 2022. But anywho, I'm gonna pull a card for you guys from my Surrender Oracle deck. This is one of the cards from you guys extended reading, because in the extendeds I'm doing you guys 2022 soul scopes, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna pull this card and another oracle, and this is like the first part of your reading. Oh, I know you lying to me. Come through, spirit. Look at what y'all surrender card is. Come on, autofocus. Look, we got to be petty. I need you to do your job right now. We are trying to be petty with our Libra brethren and sister and my fellow Venetian soul. Surrender to spirit. Who we've been talking about this whole goddamn reading. My Libra brethren and sister and my fellow children of Venus. I'm just a saying, surrender to spirit. Screenshot it. Surrender to spirit. Spirit. That's who you're surrendering to. Spirit. Surrender to spirit. Libra. Surrender. Spirit. Okay, I'm gonna stop being petty. Once you've done, child, look. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, Libra, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you, Libra. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Child, look, I always take it personally. When I be explaining all this stuff, you know, I'm like, I'm trying to get it out my mouth. And then spirit is becoming with a 1-2 punch with one card. Like, why you just ain't say that in the beginning? Why you just ain't say that in the beginning? You know what I'm saying? But that's okay. I enjoy every minute of it. But that's the deal, man. Surrender to spirit. I mean, I get it, dude. I always tell people, like, you know, trusting spirit is hard if, you know, you don't know spirit like that. And we just got to be real about it, y'all. You know, as a spiritual teacher, I consider myself more a teacher of the metaphysical arts. You know what I'm saying? But truth be told, it's like we have to be honest with ourselves about where we are spiritually. And I totally get it. Like, yes, there's a lot of people who believe in God, believe in spirit, whatever it is that you want to call what's on the other side, believe in angels, all this other kind of stuff. However, it's like, I don't know you though. I don't know you like that. We ain't shoot marbles together. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know if you have my best interest at heart. I want to believe that you do, but I really don't know you like that. So it's like, how am I supposed to just be trusting you in things? You know what I'm saying? It's like, we're human beings after all. And if you're new on this journey, and this is a new concept, it's literally the equivalent of me sending a random man to your door or a random chick to your door, whatever you're into, have them ring your doorbell. And I'm like, hey, so this is the person you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with. You know what I'm saying? They're going to come in your house now. They live here. All their stuff's outside. We got a U-Haul, listen to what they say, do what they say, do. Give them your social security number, give them the access to all your bank accounts, give them all of your passwords for all your social media. You know what I'm saying? Because this is your new life partner, right? And me saying deuces and like peace it out. And it's like, how on earth could you possibly do that? This is a total stranger. Granted, it's like I'm saying, hey, this is your person, trust them. But it's like, I don't know them like that. Do I really want them to have my bank account information and my social of all things? So a lot of times for people, it's like that with trust and spirit. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, that's totally normal because it's something, it's a relationship you cultivate over time and something that you grow to understand. It's not anything that you're penalized for. You know what I'm saying? Because spirit know anyway. If you really don't trust spirit know you don't trust them. But it's like, I just want you to stop BSing and be real about it so we can start to work on this thing, because we can't work on something that we in denial of. You sitting up here staring at pots and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So it's a total normal thing, dude. But I think it's beautiful because this is something you guys can have an epic breakthrough in, with starting that journey of learning to trust. It's not like a light switch where you just turn it off and on. It's like, it's a journey within itself. Ooh, child. Betrayal. It says breach of trust, dishonesty, and disloyalty. And I feel that has a lot to do with why there's an issue with trust. Before I let y'all go, I'm going to tell you a little psychological thing here. So studies have found that in reference to like God, right? Like how God is usually referred to as like a he, him, Father God, won't he do it? You know what I'm saying? Type of deal. There have been case studies in reference to this, that women who have like issues with males because they were either abused or violated like as children, or have a negative relationship like with their father, or like this card that came out for you guys, betrayal. You know what I mean? And it could be the same for men too, but the studies I've seen have mostly been aligned with women. But I can understand how this would apply to a male as well. But God being personified, because mind you, God does not have a penis or a vagina, because God don't have no body. Just throwing that out there. This whole, gender thing is a human thing. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, because humans are the ones who were like, Father God, type of deal. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway. But with God being personified as a masculine, male, father, he, him pronoun figure, right? There's a difficulty of trusting, because if a person's perception of the male species is that, they're betrayers, they're dishonest, they're liars, they're abusers, they're cheaters, they're a species that objectifies women and suppresses them and punishes them and curses them and things of the sort, pretty much seeing God as a misogynist, you know what I'm saying? But because of God being personified as a male, for people, and I'll say the same for men, but the study I'm speaking of specifically, the study was done on women, but women who have issues with males throughout the course of their life, like their history of like abuse and stuff like that, it's difficult to trust an almighty power that is created in the image of a male when one has been, harmed, maimed, or what have you by the male species. So it's very difficult to even fathom the concept of putting one's trust or opening up even to a benevolent figure or a creator figure, because they're a male, because one is scarred, And that's not an easy thing to just push past. It's like, oh, well, that's totally different. Like God's not like that. Yeah, but you know, there's these little things called schemas in our brain, and schemas create stereotypes. That's why there's prejudice and racism and things of the sort in the world, because we make quick snap judgments about people. Like we see a person of a certain skin tone or a certain gender, certain presentation, and we're making snap judgments all the time. Our brain does that to help us out so that we're not spending so much time processing information, you know what I'm saying, to keep us safe and, you know, function in life and all that other kind of good stuff. But that could have a lot to do with it, you know? So I could say the same, like I said, for males in particular, I could see that. If a male has been harmed by other males, it can also be that same concept. Like if God was, you know, female presenting and we were all mother God all the time, which used to be the case back in the day. I think I just, I legit just like coughed directly into the microphone. I thought I was turning my head, but I just realized like I just coughed in y'all ear. I'm so sorry. Lord, this weather in New Orleans is just, it's not what's hot in the streets, y'all. Anyway, but I can see even for a male how that could be relevant if, you know, the main personification, because even though there are some people who refer to, you know, God as it, you know, or there's some people who say mother goddess and all this other kind of stuff, but that's not something that's more prevalent. Like in Western society, the main personification, oh my God. That's insane that my throat is drying up right now. I'm going to speak truth anyway, goddammit. Anywho, the main personification that's most general, that most of us are familiar with in Western society is that of, you know, God as a masculine figure. So that's a little tidbit, but the main thing I want to drive home to you guys is that's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a part of the process. The sooner that we embrace our truth of where it is that we are spiritually, or any doubts that we have, because FYI, if you didn't know, you're allowed to question spirit. Spirit likes that. Spirit wants that. I know our religions did not teach us that, but literally the beginning of your awakening, it lies in you finally starting to ask these questions that many of us have been fear-mongered into pondering or asking or saying out loud. So you are in good company, my friend. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, I'm going over to my network and Vimeo and YouTube members and Patreon to do you guys extended, that of which is your 2022 soul scopes. So if you're about that life, follow me on over there. I have on my my high school homecoming t-shirt, and it is a blessing that I'm able to barely squeeze into this thing. I just wanted to throw that out there before I left. Libra, you're my, you know, Venetian brother and sister, so y'all know I'm weird like that. Moving right along. So if you guys about that life, follow me on over there. But if not, I still love your freaking face. You know what I'm saying? And I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends.